Clickety, clackety, clunkety. Alright, it's a bit of a long one today. Sorry about that, but I wanted to make sure that I covered everything so that it would be easy for you guys to recreate this on your own if you've never done a magnetization before and you wanted to start. So, might be a little bit teaching your granny to suck eggs if you're an experienced magnetizer, but if you're not, then this should be a good, thorough, basic tutorial for you all. So, let's get on with it. Oh, and if you notice my hand at any point, yeah, I burnt myself, so sorry about that as well. It looks a bit ugly, but let's get on with this. So this is it, the end result of all our magnetization efforts. This is a fully magnetized flying chicken. Something I never thought I'd say, but there we go. So we've done the bomb bay, we've done the two rear turrets. The front guns don't really need it, they're press fit. We've done one door, as you can see. The other door not done. And hang on. Oh, there it is. I almost left out the other door gun. So it's relatively easy to magnetize. The one thing I would be careful of is to make sure you glue magnets on the inside of the doors rather than do the doors the way I did, because I wasn't paying attention. Forgot to glue the magnets in, had already built it up. Too late. So this kit comes, there's be unboxing videos by other people. I don't really care about that much. For this one, this is more of a magnetization. So you can see you get your two sprues. The way they've padded out these instructions is ridiculous. So you can see we've got, you know, build the Archaeopter Stratoraptor, which is steps 1 to 8, or build the Archaeopter Transvector, which is 9 to 16. And as far as I can tell, there's literally one difference between the two. And that is, where's the step? This step, where you're building the little landing legs at the rear. So they go on here, you know, there. So this one uses part 40. And if you flick to building the other model, it uses part 48 and 39, as opposed to 40 and wherever the other one is. Are they both part 40? Both part 40. So you can see you get a ever so slightly different leg, and it's trivial. It really is trivial. I mean obviously, yeah, you've got the gun in the door. We're going to try to magnetize that. I haven't looked at that yet. And then you've got the bomb rack on the back instead of, where you can see this one has the bomb. This puppy has the twin Cognis las cannon. And that's pretty much the difference. There obviously are differences at the front, so we're going to try to magnetize that as well. But other than that, as far as I can see, flicking through this manual, I mean, the steps are identical. Literally, they're the same kit, except for the back legs, which just seems a bit meh. Oh, and the front landing gear as well. It gets in a different position. I'm going to build it up to the part where I need to actually glue the alternate bits in, and then I'm going to come back and show you how to magnetize that. So this is just a brief overview of what we're doing. Okay, immediately, first thing, like literally the first instruction, there's a mistake. So that says part 21, right? Oh look, that is part 21. If I get that to focus, there, part 21. Does that look the same? No. But what is the same is that one, I think, which is part 31. So yeah, mistaken the instructions already. Alright, so magnetizing this thing. First thing we've got are the guns at the front. These are pretty much press fit, so I'll show you this. You can sort of see the little indentation, and it literally presses in. These really don't need magnetized. You know, you can do whatever way. Whoa, don't fall over. You can do whatever you want with them. So one of the configurations is, I've just noticed I've got that one squinty a little bit. Yeah, well, we'll file that down, it'll be fine. So the guns at the front, you don't need to worry too much about. You know, so next thing we'll look at, chicken butthole, you'll notice that the rear turret thing has a key. That is on the bomb bay, but it is not on the mount for the other ones. Fantastic. I don't know why they would do that, but they did. Now, this piece has to use for this turret, and if I just move that right, this turret. So you'll see that both the turrets have the same top piece. So what we're going to do is take some 6mm magnets, and they stop that, and they just are going to drop in. So you can see that those 6mm magnets will go in there. Then we can take our turret, drop that in there, and there's no rattle. So if I shake that, you can't hear a rattle, so that's good. So what we'll need to do is put a magnet in there, or a couple of magnets probably. I think that's 2mm, it might fit 3, but we'll start off with 2. So a couple of 2mm magnets for that one. The other thing we're going to do then is chop the stud, and we're going to take an 8mm, and that gets a nice flush. I'm going to see if I've got a 1mm by 8. I don't think I do. I think I've only got 2mm thick magnets. I mean I could use a 6, but I like the way that fits, so that's what we're going to do, is pretty much just super glue that in there. Then, oh, so like that, but obviously without the stud, so that'll literally just fit like that. So as long as we remember the polarity of all these magnets, that's the key. We've got the first part of this turret done. What I've done is drill. I know it looks like it's cut, but it's actually drilled. So if I show you the drill bits I've used for this, you can see I've got 3 drills: 1mm, 2mm, 3mm. So there's a fair. Looking at the drill bits, I mean, like, you know, that one's, the brass one's 2mm, the steel one's 3mm. It really feels like a huge step up, but it's not really. The only thing about it is you can see, hang on, let me just give that a wee wipe. You can see the tip is very V-shaped, which means it's hard to get a flush bottom. Your magnets, if you can, no, not that knife, where's the other one? Oh, in my other hand, idiot. You can see here I've got a 3mm magnet. I think it's 3x2, might be 3x3. Anyway, it's going in there and it's going to stay flush. That's, let me just swipe that off, push it in. So that needs glued in there, but hopefully you can see, I'll just check the camera, you can see that that is nice and flush. And I'm also realizing that my white balance is horrible at this point, but it's grey plastic on a blue background. We don't care about the white balance. That's for professionals. So this will just clickety clack in here. There you go. So that's essentially what our stack is going to look like. Upside down, obviously, because we are on the... So you can see there that even with those magnets, that's not coming off. And it'll get even better when we cut that little nub off. That won't need it at all. So all we do is we take our turret, we find the midpoint, nice and middle, because that's going to be nice and middle to that. We drill a 1mm drill bit straight down, fairly deep. Then we come in with the 2mm drill bit, widen that off, try to keep it centered as much as possible. Oh, and then the 3mm drill bit. Now this has this tendency, because the flute is so wide, it has a tendency to pull a lot, especially when there's no sides. This will literally clean the sides out. You can see there are no sides left. So it will clean those out. That's fine. What you do then is you take your knife and you trim them. So it'll sort of push them out and bulge them. And you want your knife, trim them down, and you can see, hopefully you can see there's a tiny little gap underneath that. That's due to the wedge shape of the tip. I'm going to do the same for this one and cut the stud off that. Relatively straightforward to do, and then that'll be the rear turret done for this, and then we'll do the bomb. So when you're drilling your 2mm in, that's the size of the hole you've got. A 2mm magnet, or 2mm by 3 or 4mm would probably hold it just as well as the 3x3, but to be honest, yeah, you might as well go for the 3 if you've got it. It's just slightly more awkward because the drill bit is larger than the... So if I do this without bashing my microphone and move the camera back a smidge, just make sure that's in focus. Close enough. And let's bring a light down so we can see what we're doing. So hopefully you can see, you can see that this is shredding the sides of it. And that's all we're trying to do. Okay, so that's obviously gone off to one side. It's the problem with these bigger drill bits, but all we're going to do now is trim this side. And then, yeah, it's a good fit, slightly off center. It should still... And here we run our 50-50 risk, where at this point I have a 50-50 chance of having put that in wrong. Yeah, wrong way around. Typical, but easy to fix, which is another reason why this is slightly better than the 2mm one. Because if your 2mm one is in the wrong polarity, you can't just stick something underneath it and hoik it out. You literally have to go through the sides. So this one will now just drop in. There we go. So you can see how easy that is. It's literally a 1mm hole, a 2mm hole, and then a 3mm hole, where you hope that the 3mm hole is centered, but it never is, and it's easy to fix. So there you go. That's that way. If you haven't got, looks like an old surgeon's tool, a rusty old saw, you can do this with your clippers. Whoops. Now rather than just trying to clip it in one go, I find it's best to squeeze your clippers a little and twist it as you cut. And then it comes off a little bit easier. The saw is easier. Just file it down. We want this to be flush because we're going to be... This is going to sit on our magnet effectively. So if I grab our... Get off that. Our stack. That's going to go there. That is going to go there. And then that is going to glue in. And you see how easy that is. That's literally all we're doing. And then that is going to pop off, pop on, and you heard the nice clicky sound we got there. So this is a nice easy one. This turret, nice and easy. You should have no problems with this. Let's do the bombs. I am going to use the saw for this one. Actually, it doesn't need the saw. Chop. Chop. And retest the magnet, see how flush it's sitting. Oh yeah, that'll be grand. So, step 1. When gluing your magnets in, make sure you pick one as the master. So our master in this case is going to be this stack, alright? So what we want to do is make sure, before we even glue anything else in, we're going to glue this one in. So a little bit of super glue around there. I just need to find my super glue. So we're using Loctite Parflex. and a very squeaky chair. So what we want to do, right, so we take that and glue. And that is that. Just let that glue church, and in a few seconds, I don't have super glue activator, I really should get some. In a few seconds that will be glued in place. There we go. A few seconds have passed. Our master magnet is glued in place. Slightly off center, but me, I don't care. So there's that one. Alright, next thing we want to do is take our magnet and we're going to put it like that on top of our knife. And what I want to do is that. See how that snatches it? Alright, that means that the side on the knife wants to be glued, or not glued, I beg your pardon. The side away from the blade wants to be glued onto the top of the bomb. So, once again, take our glue, just move that back a little bit so it stays in focus. And with super glue, you don't need much. So let's just verify. If I glue it like that, it will stick. So that's what we want. So there we go. And that glue is really good because it does grab straight away. Now, it's probably not worth putting that on like that, but I'm just going to test it. Yeah, you can feel it snatching. And that's what we want. That is going to have a good hold. That magnet's probably overkill for this. In fact, it's almost definitely overkill. So next thing we want to do, alright, is glue our magnet stack into this base. So leaving the magnets attached to that and working around the camera and the microphone, we take our, move back a little bit, and we just put a spot of glue. Not much, just a spot. Pop that in there, hold it, hold it. So it might be easier if I take that off. And then drop that in there and push it down. And let that grab. So it's always worth making sure your magnets are in the right polarity because it is a pain in the... Yeah, it's a real pain in certain areas that you don't want pain when you accidentally glue magnets in the wrong way. Now I've done it more times than I care to admit. For everything I usually make at least one magnetic mistake. But right now this is going swimmingly. So we know that if we can, oops, if we can get that magnet out like so, hold the magnet, swap the knife edge over. Right, then take our glue and little tiny bit on top, and then push that back in, let the glue work its magic glueness, and I want to do the same for this one. So knife goes in very carefully, because what I actually do it from the other side. What I don't want to happen is for the magnet to go twanging off into Never Never Land and then had to be... So we know that this is supposed to go in that way. So if we pull that off, put it back on, we know that we can then push it in. That's one little trick I like to use. And a little touch of stupid glue and get in that hole. There we go. Okay, so one thing we'll note with this is that this does not sit flush. If you can see that, it's at an angle, slightly raised, so we'll need to account for that with our magnets. And then this one also, I believe, sits at a slight angle, although it's, yeah. So what we're going to do is cut this down at, rather than cutting it flush to it, we're going to cut it at a slight incline. So to do that, I am this time going to use the knife, I think. So we're going to start, this might not come across on camera, but what I'm going to do is trim that down and then gradually shave it off, okay? So let's just move the camera slightly. Let's just see if we can see that. Okay, so for that. So yeah, that's all we're doing here. Could have done that with a file. In fact, you know what? Arseholes to it. We'll file it. Get off that file, stupid magnets. So for this, I'm going to do this mostly off camera, but I'll try to show you here, is file down the prongs and then at that angle hold the file like that, and that's the angle we want to file it down at. So I'm going to do that off camera because I need to hold it tight and it's just too hard to see if I'm doing it on camera. Too hard for me to see. Okie dokie day. So we've got that file down to a slope, and obviously then the intent is to glue magnets. I was thinking about putting a magnet inside it. I mean, that's what, 6, hang on. So that's a 6mm magnet. Oh, stupid magnetic. So yeah, you could put a 6mm magnet inside it and do something similar to the turret if you really wanted to, but what we'll do is we'll grab, let's see what we've got here. We'll grab a couple of 3x1s. So I'll need three, well, hang on, yeah, right, so here are our 3mm by 1mm magnets. So one on that, then cut that out inside the little bar. Yeah, that's what we'll try. So I'm just going to actually shave that back and forth with the knife. So if I want that up like, no, like that, what I'll need to do is shave it like that. Okay. So basically, to do this, I'm going to take, so because I want that to go up like that, and I'll flip that over and just basically, this could take a while, but that's what I'm going to do. So I'll come back when I've got that done. Okie dokie dokie. So what we did was basically just keep scraping at that with a knife, and eventually got to the point where the magnet went on. So it'll do. It's not my finest work, but who cares. So next thing we need to do is do the exact same thing, which is going to go that way. See? That way. So that's going to get glued on that way. That's going to sit like that. I prefer that to slide inside it, but you know, I ain't got that sort of time. So yeah, that's going to go like that. So what we want to do is come at it like that. Okay. See, I can do this. I can do this anytime. Okie dokie, that is the comms array done too. So to give these a quick test, I'm going to move them out of the way, get the super glue, put the bloody lid on the super glue, because we all know we've done it. We all know we've left the glue open, and then come back the next day and there was much swearing and where the hell's my polystyrene cement. Okay, so first of all, you need to zoom out. Blah, 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 blah. Nice little bit of glue. Lid back on. Making sure to glue this in the right way around. So I'm just going to lift this off camera so I can line this up straight. Yeah. Okay. So there she be. So we'll drop on our chaff launcher. And the comms array. So that's how easy that is. So next up we are going to do the last bit, which was, what was it? Oh yeah. Yeah. The bit I don't want to do. But I need to do it because it's my fault. So we're going to do the door guns. Not dragons, door guns. So this one's going to be a bit trickier. Okie doke, so there is our 3mm hole in the door. Focus, chip. Yeah, good enough, you can see it. Anyway, so what we want to do now is slightly clean that up. So the first thing to do is to clean it up with a knife. So all we're going to do is just basically scrape that so that it's not, so there's no flush bits, okay? Or sorry, there's no bits protruding. You can see it's roughly cleaned. So we then take our file. Hang on, I'll do this on camera, upside down, okay? And drop you down. And do that. There. Okay. So all we're going to do now this would be much easier if the wings weren't on. But we have what we have. You can get a rough idea of how thick the door is there too. So now we're going to take a 3mm magnet and just dry test fit. So you can see that would be pretty much what we want. You can see it's slightly recessed and it's not coming out, which isn't good, but with the power of more magnets pointing the right way, it'll come out. Okay, so we've got our hole drilled. I should have done the other door because I am left-handed and I'm coming at this with my right. And you can see, actually kind of come at it from above. So what we'll need to do is get that in really quickly and then thumb over it. Take our glue. Now you'll note I'm trying to get this around the edges. And towards the back of the edges of that. So that should do nicely. It is slightly recessed, but not particularly. So now all we need to do is take my knife blade and I want to test, I want to test it this way. So that worked. So, where'd it go? So let's try that again so it doesn't jump off. So that is repelling. And if this is attracting, which it is, then what we do is we know that's the direction we want the magnet, so we just apply some super glue and literally just stick that to our finger while we go, because that's just the way it happens. And now that that's on, if I take my flying chicken and just do that, there is the gun, and that, as you can see, is it magnetized. If you've made it this far, thanks very much for watching. There's another couple of videos there you can click on. You can click on the subscribe button if you want to, like the video if you want to, stick a comment down if you've anything to say, and in the meantime, happy wargaming, and I'll see you next time.